The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze. Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Freeze Podcast, the holiday episode. We're doing a year-end review, Christmas episode, sort of like all together, all in one. It's been a while. Just have some free time for the holidays. So, yeah, just going to try to knock out a quick Christmas episode. Yeah, so everything seems to be smooth in terms of the setup, looking right, trying to raise the production value, looking good. So, yeah, without further ado, we'll just get into it and kind of look at, the best albums of 2022, everybody's December list, and see what people are saying. See if I agree with some of the opinions of some of the writers. So in front of me, for example, I have the NPR's Best Music of 2022. So these are the 20 best hip-hop albums of 2022. Now, full disclosure, I haven't listened to every rap album released this year, but I have listened to a few. Just this year, I didn't have time to get around to listening to every album. I have listened to probably sort of, I guess, the main ones. So there is one on the list here that has, I would say some acclaim, and that I kind of just skipped, and that's Pusha T's It's Almost Dry. So yeah, I'm not the biggest Pusha T fan. I don't like his lyrics don't exactly speak to me, so I kind of just skipped that one. So I have no idea how well the Pusha T project is. I may listen to it at a future point in time, but as of right now, it's not really my speed. So let's see what else is on here. So Open Mike Eagle, NBA Youngboy, Rock Marciano. I mean, there's a lot of these I haven't listened to. Saba Few. Yeet is surprisingly on the list. Okay, so NPR writes, did Yeet beat the corny allegations? Is he some sort of anti-art, anti-criticism psyop designed for hype beasts to worship? The answer to that is yes. After 2020's deluge of memes and editorializing on this kind of boring main character with a strange amphibian rap voice, who's to say? Whatever the case may be, I'm among the millions of earthlings who have been Yeet-pilled. Okay. I mean, I only know of Yeet through basically Channel 5, and I guess he's the new Coachella artist. I haven't listened to this project, so I can't really say, but he just seems kind of the new kind of Lil Pump. That is the impression I get of Yeet. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. It just seems like mindless music. Black Star released an album, the sequel to 1998's Black Star. And yeah, I've heard some people people like Anthony Fantano, the Needle Drop, who were kind of disappointed. Obviously, there's a lot of expectations on what a Black Star album should and shouldn't sound like. I think it's, the timing between the two albums. I mean, it'll be impossible to please all of the fans, but I mean, having a second Black Star album, I'm just glad that it exists. I haven't personally listened to it. Probably should get around to doing that. So that'll be on my Spotify list for sure. Danger Mouse and Black Thought cheat codes featuring MF Doom. Little sweatshirts, sick. Okay, Vince Staples' Ramona Park broke my heart. So the Vince Staples project, it was what? So how could I put the Vince Staples project? With Vince Staples, in my opinion, Big Fish Theory was one of the best amalgamations of rap and dance music or electronic music. It actually did a proper fusion, and that album was criminally underrated. Whereas his follow-up to that, I think, was his eponymous album, the self-titled album, Vince Staples, which was okay. And Ramona Park Broke My Heart kind of had elements of Big Fish Theory that I liked. including some of the production. So I think it was more of like a move in the right direction, but I didn't feel the same. Like I didn't love it as much as the Big Fish Theory. So Ramona Park broke my heart. I'm actually surprised it made the top list. I think this kind of speaks to the kind of desert of albums, or like incredible rap albums this year. I felt like musically there wasn't that much great input other than a few exceptions, obviously. So one of the exceptions that I'm going to mention is the Kendrick album that dropped this year. So I think for Ramona Park broke my heart to make this list. I think that indicates that there was a drought of quality albums this year. And that's just my opinion, because it was a decent album, but I don't think it should have made like a top 10 list. So Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Yeah, so this album, I mean, it kind of got Kendrick in a bit of hot water for some of the concepts, but Kendrick is like one of the kings of the concept albums. And I think he did an incredible job of doing a critically acclaimed album that still had some aspects of accessibility to it, but at the same time wasn't a pop album as, say, Good Kid, Mad City. So it's more accessible than To Pimp a Butterfly, but it's kind of like in that same vein where he's trying to make like big, heady concepts. And I think he covered a lot of ground, and I think he did exceedingly well considering the ambition of the project. So yeah, I definitely agree with that being one of the top albums, that's for sure. So Freddie Gibbs, again, not an album that I really dove into. So yeah, one album there's a couple albums for NPR's list I'm surprised that didn't make the list. One was the Denzel Curry album, which I'm always impressed with Denzel Curry's output. Like, to me, he hasn't really made a bad project. I think maybe he doesn't have, say, like the critical acclaim of Kendrick, but I definitely think he's an artist who can get there. So I always look forward to hearing a Denzel Curry project. Sometimes, to be honest, I kind of avoided listening to this album because I felt like, oh, this one may not, I don't see it getting as many accolades as like previous projects. So I kind of avoided listening to it because I didn't want to be disappointed, but nope, same thing. It was a great project. The Lupe album, actually, that came out, I think it came out in this year or 2021. Let me double check that. So Lupe Fiasco album. There was something that came out this year. Not Trogus Wave, Tetsu Youth. It was like trap music, something. So, this production discography, studio albums. Here we go. So, Drill Music in Zion. So, I would say not as good as, say, Drogas Wave, which was an incredible project, but Drill Music in Zion, again, another great album. And I think in tandem with the Denzel Curry project, I think were great projects. And if you haven't checked out, like, to me, those are 2 top 10 albums of the year. So yeah, so for me, it's the Kendrick album, the Denzel Curry album, the Lupe Fiasco album. So that's 3. So what else came out this year? 22 rap album tier list. Okay, let's see people's like create a 2022 rap album tier list. Let's see what else is here. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna say the Denzel Curry album was S tier, the Lupe Fiasco A tier, and okay, I have not listened to the Gunna album. Let's see what else is here. Big Crit dropped a project. I'm not sure actually who that is. Earl Sweatshirt, I think. I'm actually surprised the Drake album isn't here. I don't know why. There's a lot of rap albums missing here. Like, I haven't seen some of these albums, but there's a few that should be on here. Oh, Earth Gang. The Earth Gang album. Yeah, I'd say that's like a B. I wouldn't say that's top 10. Okay, let me get out of these rap tier lists. Who has the best rap album of 2022? Traumazine. Okay, I've not heard the Megan Thee Stallion album, so I can't comment on that, but obviously she's in the news because of the Tory Lanez situation, and congratulations to Megan Thee Stallion for winning her case against Tory Lanez. JID, The Forever Story, I should probably check that out. King's Disease 3. Okay, so that one definitely is in my top 10 of the year. Again, with all the King's Disease projects, they're all great albums. Personally, I really love the first one. I think the second one wasn't as good, and the third one is sort of a return to form, and that is sort of my overall arching opinion on the King's Disease project. Because I was really hyped for the second one after the first one and after all of the critical acclaim. What's great about the King Disease projects from Nas is that basically there's kind of these like moments of retrospection that Nas has that because of Nas's legendary status, it carries so much weight, and his comments, like his commentary carries so much weight and value in terms of like hip hop as a genre. So it's interesting to kind of hear, his thoughts on various projects, and he shouts out some of the younger artists as well. I would say the Future project that dropped this year. I forget. Future rap album 2022. Future rap album 2022. I believe that dropped this year. I Never Liked You. Yeah. Might not be for some people's top 10, but I think the Future album makes my personal list. Yeah, I mean, this is a return to form again, so I think that makes the list. I would say even the Migos, or not the Migos, what was it? The Uncle Migos new album 2022, Only Built for Infinity Links. Yeah, there are some great moments on that album. Obviously the first single, I think it was the first single, Hotel Lobby, where they shot the Hunter S. Thompson Fear and Loathing music video. That was great. That's a classic track, and unfortunately, one of the Migos, I think it was Takeoff, or was it Takeoff who died? I forget which member of the Migos. Was it Quavo or Takeoff? Quavo dead? Yeah, it was Quavo who died. So, no, Migos rapper Takeoff dead. No, it was I was right the first time. Takeoff dead. TMZ, Migos rapper Takeoff who died. Okay. Right. That's okay. So, and this is just like completely, no, you know what? I'm not even going to make a tangential thing, but apparently, according to Ground News, TMZ leans left. I don't know. That seems strange to me, but whatever. Yeah, it was Takeoff who died. Okay. Yeah, I really should have prepped better for this. I started doing everything in the moment here in real time, so excuse me if I have to verify something in real time. So yeah, so let's go over the albums, rap albums of 2022. So King's Disease 3, I Never Liked by Nas, I Never Liked You by Future, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. What else did I say? Melt My Eyes, Denzel Curry, Trap Music in Zion by Lupe Fiasco. So those are the 5, which are all very like conscious, political rap albums, which, I mean, if you know me, that shouldn't be any surprise. Well, yeah, I guess with the exception of the Future album. Uh, that is, I forgot about the Future album. Oh, the uh, only built for Infinity Links album, I would say, is also in there. Just because we're never going to get a project like that now with Takeoff's death, and there were some really good moments like them sampling Outcast and the Hotel Lobby track. That was like actually like a moment in hip hop, and sadly Takeoff's death was also a moment in hip hop, and I think like that's kind of like the end of the Migos now, right? So I think we all were kind of hoping that eventually maybe that they would reunite like afterward, and now like it's less likely, obviously, and it's completely understandable. But I do think there's something to be said with this album being kind of like a moment in time. So that's that. So that's 6 albums or so. Rap album 2022. Forever Story. God Don't Make Mistakes. Conway the Machine. So, yeah, that's an album I'm definitely going to have to check out. Conway the Machine really impressed me. Let's see what else we got. Hip Hop DX. Let's see what Hip Hop DX listed. Oh, these are just lists of albums that came out this year or are going to come out. Interesting. So Ab-Soul released an album this year. I'm not saying it's top 10 or anything, but that's Charles Hamilton apparently released a album called Hyper Goth today. That is exceedingly bizarre. Hyper Goth. What does that even mean? Charles Hamilton. I haven't heard that name. Hyper Goth. Charles Hamilton. Oh, I think the Kid Cudi project also dropped, but I don't. Hyper Goth. Weird. Oh, I just opened Spotify. Uh-oh. Okay. The Book of Mayfield. Weird. Oh, and the album covers like the Paris catacombs apparently. That's so bizarre. Huh. All right. Well, let's see what our hip hop heads is saying. Album of the year number 10, Denzel Curry. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. Yes. Okay. So that's the name of the Denzel Curry album. Bones, Oxygen. I don't know if that would be. Oh, that's a track. Okay. I thought Bones did come out with an album this year, but I might be wrong about that. Heroin Boss, 89%. No. Hypergoth. Yeah, what are the comments on this? I'm very curious about this now. Someone explains if this sounds anything like hyper pop or goth music. It is not hyper or goth. Interesting. It seems people are as flabbergasted as I am as why Charles Hamilton would name his rap album that, especially releasing it on Christmas. That is so weird. Okay. Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, we might as well just talk about for the remainder of the time. 19 minutes in. Basically, just some news events that happened. So obviously, the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation. Tory Lanez was found guilty on all charges, and yeah, I think there was kind of a debate going back and forth in the hip hop community whether Tory Lanez was guilty or not. A lot of people wanted to kind of play, Reddit lawyer or whatever, and yeah, I mean, I think like the first, what was it, like last week, he had somehow like evaded charges or whatever, and this year he was found guilty, or the last time they went into court, he was found guilty on all charges. So that is certainly interesting. Tory Lanez now also faces possible deportation. His father made a scene in the courtroom, which isn't going to play well for him. So yeah, I mean, Megan Thee Stallion, did she receive justice? I guess that is, at the end of the day, that's the question. And honestly, my honest opinion on that is like no, considering everything she had to go through to like get this verdict, and the sort of like the public humiliation, or the public, like the very public like fact that she had to make a case for herself and people not believing her. And so like even though she won, I'm sure like a part of her still feels like at a loss. At least that's my perspective, just like, but I mean, at least she has a bit of closure at the end, I guess. So like hopefully this thing is concluded, and Tory is now charged and will serve time for his actions. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's the end of that, and hopefully that kind of wraps a bow on it. Some people like, there are obviously like YouTubers, commentators, and people who are just gonna go back and forth on this, but I think the decision is final. I think that's basically it. He might be able to appeal, but I don't think that's going to go over well. So, and you know what? He really shouldn't, again, because of the whole public nature. Obviously, these being two very public personalities in the hip hop world. So, yeah, just leave it there. Like for this, not for the sake of like the main people involved, but for their families. Like I think like, just let it lie, and that's the way it should be, and Tory should serve his time. More hip hop news. Ice Spice, the newest like artist, like mainstream kind of, I wouldn't say mainstay, but like kind of poppin' artist with a single with Munch. There's a lot of talk of whether she can kind of like transcend her sort of like one-hit wonder status as of right now with Munch. Obviously, Munch was a big hit. The problem is, yeah, she's really underdeveloped as an artist. There really isn't artist development these days. The labels don't really do artist development. And yeah, from what I've heard of like various tracks from Ice Spice, I think that's correct. Like most of the tracks sound the same, and it seems like she's trying to like recapture the flame of that initial single. The latest thing that I heard, I don't know the name of the song, but I heard like a clip of it on Instagram, but it sounded exactly like Munch. So she's gonna definitely have to evolve her flow, and just do something different other than the same cadence over and over again. While that worked for Migos, they at least had 3 members in the group to kind of like switch up the styles a bit. So it wasn't just the same thing over and over again. So yeah, that's basically that. What else happened in hip hop this year? Hip hop news 2022. Okay. That's funny. Hip hop DX, hip hop news, rap gossip. Wow. Nick Cannon, I ain't touching that one. Let's see. Okay, that's interesting. Let's do this one. Black Thought, MF Doom, and Kendrick Lamar among Barack Obama's 2022 favorite songs. So yeah, this has become sort of a weird yearly tradition, is where media asks Barack Obama what is on his playlist, since Barack Obama was like the most recent cool president. Black Thought, MF Doom, Kendrick Lamar, and NX Worries landed on Obama's favorite songs of 2022 list. So that's cool. Not really surprised by Kendrick. Kind of surprised with the MF Doom Black Thought project, the Black Thought and Danger Mouse project, where I go by Anderson .Paak and Knowledge as the duo NX Worries, and Lizzo. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So I'm looking at Obama's list right here. Okay. SZA shirt. Huh. Steve Lacy, Sunshine. Okay. Sir, Life is Good. Break My Soul. Yeah. Okay, I was wondering if he was going to have Bad Bunny on there, and he did. So that's interesting, because I would be massively surprised if he didn't mention Bad Bunny, who I think had like a very popular project this year. Because didn't he break through one Christmas? Bad Bunny rap album. Like, it was like a Christmas project that sort of like pushed him to the mainstream, is what I remember. So I think he had like something at the end of this year. Reggaeton. No, it came out in May. Fans think Bad Bunny is releasing new album in 2023. Okay. Interesting. Un Verano Sinti. And this came out in May. Let's see, the critical reception. Yeah, so that album was made with critical acclaim, or was made with critical acclaim. I think a lot of artists wish it was made with critical acclaim built in. So, Un Verano Sin Ti. Okay, so Metacritic had an average of 85, so pretty good. So indicating universal acclaim. So Complex listed it at 50 best albums of 2022. Yeah, I'm surprised since Bad Bunny released an album this year that it didn't make anybody's top 10. So I'm kind of surprised with that, but I guess people would qualify him as more reggaeton. So I haven't listened to the project, but I look forward to listening to that as well. So I'm gonna put that sort of like as a placeholder. Okay, this is interesting. The Toronto Sun, top albums of 2022: Renaissance, Motomami, Bad Bunny. Oh, okay. So they took this from the Associated Press. Okay, that makes more sense. Let's see. Okay, Renaissance. Did Renaissance come out this year? Okay. Okay, yeah. So Break My Soul. Dawn FM. Did Dawn FM also come out this year? Because if Dawn FM came out this year, that for sure makes top 10 for me. Oh, it came out it came out so early this year. Okay, well, I guess we know what's like number 7. Definitely Dawn FM. It's one of the best weekend albums for sure. His concept album was able to pull off. I mean, that's definitely one of the best albums of 2022. Surprisingly, people didn't mention that either. Let's see what else is on here. Blackst. Bad Bunny's on here. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we got a variety of projects for 2022. It really, I think you kind of have to dig for, throughout the year, but I think there's a good variety. Yeah, so AP's top albums of 2022. There you go. So it wasn't the Toronto Sun, it was AP, the Associate Press. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. I've been Brian Capitao, the host of the Freeze Podcast, the podcast about hip-hop chatter. I want to wish you and your friends and family a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Peace.